So today's video is going to be a part 2 of a rebuild that I'm doing on this model 4000 Cauffiel motor made in the late 1940s. If you want to see the first part, I'll have a link to it in the description, as well as I'll have it up on my iCards to the right there. What I did in between those videos, and I also missed a few things in the last video I did. Before I started stripping the paint off the shroud in the last video, I did take off the tag because I didn't want this nice red paint on the tag to get removed. As you can see, it's a really nice tag, so I didn't want to ruin it. So I took that off. After I got my shroud actually buffed up and fairly clean to the point that I'm happy with it, I ended up buffing the tag as well, and then I riveted back in with some custom rivets. And as I said, I buffed the shroud, and then I also got the tank I had for it, and I buffed it to match the shroud, so they both have about the same patina now. I ended up making a muffler for it because in the actual pamphlet I have for the engine, it has a different muffler than's on any Clinton or Briggs that I've seen. So I roughly copied the muffler. I have a separate video I'm uploading of this if you want to watch the time lapse of that, because I don't think it wouldn't make this video spaced out very well. So if you want to see that, there'll be a video for that in my channel. So the first thing I'm going to do with you guys today is I'm going to take this carburetor apart and see how bad it is inside. I have some bolts and stuff here, all the bolts and stuff I need to blast and clean up, and then I'm probably going to end up bluing them. I need to also polish the crankshaft because it's a little bit scored up in spots, but I'll just polish it up and call it good. And then I'll move on to honing cylinder and doing the valves. And before too long, we'll be to the point where we're just going to be able to start assembling some things. I'm going to be using a Clinton gasket set for this engine because I'm pretty sure every component will fit on it that I need. If it doesn't, it'll be really close enough that I can use it still, but just have to tweak it a little bit. And other than that, I think that's about all I have to do, and then it's just have to assemble it. If you want to see this engine running, there should be a little clip of it running at the end of this video, as well as I'm going to upload a separate video of it running that's a lot nicer than what you'll see in this video. So if you want to skip all the rebuilding and just see it run, you can skip to the end of the video. So I hope you guys enjoy, and let's get started. When I started this project, I wasn't planning to go through it and make it this nice looking, but it ended up kind of transforming into basically a full restoration of this engine. It ain't the best restoration, but I'm pretty sure it'll be better than what this thing came out of the factory as, because these were not well produced. I'm not getting the greatest finish on the shroud. It does have some oxidation left on it and stuff, but there's only so much I can do. I'm not very good at working with tin, let alone aluminum. So I'm just going to leave it at that before I start scratching it too much, because it's real easy to scratch this stuff. We polished the crankshaft off camera. I re-shimmed the size of the rod bearing. It fits a lot better now. I went through and cleaned the carburetor. I'll probably have a little bit of that, but I ended up having to spend almost my entire afternoon getting just one of these carburetors working. I have a pile of about 6 or 7 of them over there that were bad. They had either stripped out threads in the bottom or the screw was stripped out inside and I couldn't get it out. This one seems to be pretty good, so we'll see how it goes. Otherwise, I'm out of carburetors at the moment, so this is just going to have to make do. We did the valves. The valves are a lot nicer now. They weren't too bad to begin with, but I did gently hand grind the seats. The valves are clean enough. I just left those. I lapped them in. They were good to go. Off camera, I honed the cylinder. It's nice and shiny now. It should work out pretty good. The piston and rings looks pretty good, so I'm just going to leave them as they were. We still have to work on the ignition, but it's kind of hard to test that without it being on the engine in some way, so I'm just going to leave that till later. I have a few extra parts engines for that if I need them. I went and got myself a Clinton gasket set, so I have a gasket set for Clinton engines here. That should get me my gaskets I need. Starter pulley's broken. It is very similar to a 700A starter pulley, but it's a lot rougher casting. So I'm just going to leave it this way and just leave it that way. It's part of what it's had in its life, and I'm not going to put a 700A on one because it won't look as crude. So yeah, I'm pretty sure we have pretty much everything done that we need to have done. So I think it's about time to start to assemble. Okay, so I just got done putting the back plate on. I was trying to line up the timing with this mark here. I'm not sure if it's supposed to be with this screw here, but there's nothing obvious that's supposed to line up with, so I timed it by eye with where the piston's at. So we're going to call this timing good. If it's problems, I can always adjust it later, but for now we're going to call this good. I tried to see if it had spark. It didn't appear it did, but the points are really dirty, so I'm not super surprised. So I'm going to just quickly buzz those and see if we have spark. Okay. These threads still aren't perfect from when they were bent at the last video. I touched them up as you saw in the video, but they aren't perfect, so they don't quite go on all the way, but it goes on most of the way. You can just barely see that up there, but maybe you'll be able to see it if it sparks. And we got spark. Nice blue spark too, so we got good spark. So back to assembling we go. Okay, so I got it all back together. Everything's on it. I got everything checked out. It looks okay. I put oil in it. I have not put gas in it yet. I have one final touch I want to put on this before we get to that point, and that is I have some decals for it. The original style Cauffiel decals. So I'm going to put these on quick, and then we can move on to getting it started. And there we go. Okay, so I haven't put gas in it yet. I'm going to do that quick and see how it goes. I have the gas turned off on the sediment bowl, so hopefully this gas tank has no leaks. That's enough to get her by for now. No dripping on the fuel line, that's a start. We're filling up. That ain't very nice. Well, it's too late to go back now. The gas I poured in was clear and it came through everything we just went through dark, so hopefully it doesn't plug anything up too bad if it's a problem. Okay, let's see if it fires off. That was probably one of the easiest engines I've done in the past while. Wow. I need to get a screwdriver to adjust my idle. So let's try that again. Well, that was easy. It runs good already. I didn't really have to do any extra work to it. So it just all worked good. Didn't even have to fix anything that I didn't quite get right. Well, I shouldn't say that, I suppose. I just now noticed that the rear main seal is a bit weepy. That's not a big surprise, but I probably ain't gonna even try and bother finding that. For all I'm gonna run this thing, that little leak ain't gonna affect me. I also need to set up something to adjust my governor better because I left the governor out because it was kind of sketchy and it was trying to hit the flywheel and stuff, so I left the governor off of it. So I probably should just rig a spring from here to from the actual governor control to the throttle to hold it closed because I don't have anything like that yet. But other than that, it fired up easy, it runs good, and I didn't even have to fix any mistakes, so I'd call that a major success. So, if you liked this video, leave a like down below. If you didn't, I don't think you would have made it this far. I'm really happy with how this engine turned out. If you want to see more engines like this, please subscribe. I do try to upload at least once a week, if not every other week. I do a lot of hit and miss and antique air-cooled engine videos, so if you like that kind of stuff, you can subscribe. I'm going to do another video on this one after I get a little more tuned, though it's running good already, and I'll get a nice running video of it. But other than that, that's about all I want to do with it today, and I hope you enjoyed. So thank you all for watching, and see you next time.